Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. My compadre from the NFL Network, Eric Davis, is here. Good to see you again, sir.
Always good to fat mouth with you.
I appreciate you fat mouthing with me, and I know what that is, even though I don't really go to too many barbershops anymore.
That's okay, but you could.
Thank you.
Much street cred. You can go anytime.
I do, really?
Yes, yeah.
Now, Terrell Davis gave me a street cred card years ago on Total Access, but he told me that that needs to be, I guess, reissued in a year in, year out
It has
basis.
to be validated, yes.
Okay.
It's only
you
good
just
for a
punched
year.
my ticket,
and
though,
you
didn't
don't.
you?
Yes, definitely. Nobody can pull your card, not just yet.
Thank you, Eric Davis. Week 3 begins tomorrow night on our network and also CBS. Washington at the Giants. Some other games that leap out, obviously the one that we just discussed about the Dallas Cowboys. The Atlanta Falcons at 2-0 against the Dallas Cowboys with Brandon Weeden starting right there. The Colts need to go into Tennessee and do what it's done pretty much the last couple of years, which is win in their division, because they're 0-2, and Marcus Mariota's home debut in Tennessee. We just talked about the Raiders-Browns with Jack Del Rio, and I want to hit you on that as we, for our television viewers, roll through the rest of the Week 3 schedule. The decision to go back to Josh McCown. Do we have Mike Pettin on that very subject? Mike Del Tufo is giving me the one finger, hold on a second sign. Did I tap dance long enough for you to press play?
Is team morale taken into account when we make a decision like this? We factor in all circumstances. It wouldn't be at the top of the list, but you know, to say that we would ignore it completely wouldn't be true either. There was just no reason to go ahead and alter our original plan. You know, Johnny's made a lot of strides, and we have no problems with him playing football for us. But we have a plan for him, and we feel that he's headed the right direction. But you know, ultimately, we rolled with Josh.
Why do you think they roll with Josh, hearing all of that, talking about team morale, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? What do you think?
You have a plan in place. You saw what he was doing in training camp. They're there. They're watching the reps. They know where he is. Mm-hmm. They know what stage he is in the development of the offense and him as a player. I don't have a problem with it. I actually said I thought O'Brien was doing a disservice to the quarterback position by yanking his quarterback in Houston. I mean, this is the guy that you said everybody saw it on Hard Knocks. This is the guy who's earned the spot. So after a bad half, he's gone. If Josh McCown, back to Cleveland, if Josh McCown earned the spot and you said he's the guy who's ready to play right now, it's very difficult for you to tell your team, okay, this is the guy, because you remember your team has heard this as well. This is the guy that gives us the best chance to win. He gets hurt. Johnny comes in and, you know, throws 15 balls, made some good plays, but now he all of a sudden is the guy that gives you the best chance to win.
But what about the idea that the ceiling for Johnny could be way higher than Josh McCown?
Well, it is. But if you throw him out there too soon, does that turn into E.J. Manuel? Does that turn into, I mean, we can go down a list of young quarterbacks that didn't have an opportunity to develop. You have Ray Farmer, the general manager that drafted him. Pettin, the head coach that drafted him. First rounder. They're tied to the guy. You want to give them the best opportunity to win. And the best opportunity for Cleveland to win within that division is to have a quarterback not screw it up and play sound defense.
So you'd vote on our poll question today at richeisenshow.com, who should be playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? How do you vote?
Right now?
Yes.
As is. Yeah.
You vote for McCown?
I vote for McCown right now. Johnny Manziel, and I'm the guy that I believe that Manziel will be the starting quarterback before the season's over.
Why? Due to choice or
because
or
you just said it. You just said it. McCown, the ceiling, the possible ceiling for Johnny is higher.
So why not find out if that ceiling could go that high this year?
Because it's too early to throw games away. If again, you as a coaching staff have evaluated this kid and you don't think he's ready to run your offense. If you did, he'd be the starter. You drafted him in the first round. The general manager that drafted him is there. If he doesn't, you look bad as a head coach and a GM if this guy does not perform. You want to give him a chance to perform. Even if you want to give him a chance to fail, you have to put him out there. So he's obviously not ready. And I think the smart thing to do is let him keep growing. Great coaching moment. Johnny, look, we didn't have to run read option. We didn't have to do those things. Within the confines of the offense, look, you were able to make plays. Let's look at what you did wrong. Let's look at what you did well. Let's keep working on it, keep growing. I think there's some valuable lessons learned in the few snaps, in that start.
And based on Khalil Mack's play, by the second quarter, Manziel could be in there anyway.
There you go.
I don't know why I went all wheezy on you right there, but I just did. What's the results right now, Brockman, at RichEisenShow.com? Is it still a Manziel heavy?
Yeah, 77% say Johnny Manziel.
Fans are all over.
Well, I get it. I mean, he's the guy eventually.
He's the
I mean, we
shiny
know
object.
McCown's a backup. That's been proven. His career has proven that.
Eric Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you heard about Josh Huff of the Eagles saying that he heard Cowboys players on the sidelines essentially calling out Eagles plays. And that is a touchy subject for a couple of reasons. One of which is that Chip Kelly's offense, T.O. was sitting in that chair on Monday, called it elementary. And that how simple it looks. And it's easy to figure out. The tendencies for Chip Kelly are easy to figure out. And that is a third-rail subject, certainly when they're 0-2, which is the other reason why it's a touchy subject. So the one for Mike Del Tufo, this was play for me, the one where Chip Kelly talks about what he said to Josh Huff today.
Yeah, I just asked him about that. He
didn't say that to
He didn't say that to us. So,
Was he making it up?
I just asked Josh, do you think they had any of our signals? And he said no.
So you heard the member of the media say, do you think he was making it up? Wow. But you think it's possible? Obviously.
Possible that you know the plays? Yes, every offense. If I'm out there as a defender and I don't have a clue as to what's about to happen, I'm not doing my job. The coaches are professionals and they're going to give you tendencies, but also as players, you look at the film and you start to see things. And everybody tells on themselves. I mean, there are certain receivers when they want to run certain routes, they're going to put the right foot back. Other releases, they're going to put the left foot back.
Sure.
All these things become a part of it. Now, as far as us understanding your plays, Rich, you're going to do that. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys didn't run a lot of plays back in the day when they had the triplets. They didn't run a lot of plays. 6, 8 plays, you knew what was coming. You got to stop it. So that's the thing.
So how about the fact that the scheme is simple to stop as well as simple to suspect what's coming?
Every scheme, how long has the West Coast offense been a part of the NFL?
Got it.
Everyone knows what they're trying to do. It's about the execution of those players. This is what Chip has to find out, and this is what I believe, and time will tell. Chip Kelly, I believe, thinks that there are interchangeable players or interchangeable pieces within his offense. In college, he was able to find talented players to run his offense year after year after year at a high rate. The difference between college and the NFL is in college, if I have more talent than you, I beat you. Talented players always beat the guys who are less talented in college, for the most part. I mean, that's 99%. In the NFL, it's not about the talented players. It's whether or not the talent that you have meshes with your system. So you can keep replacing these players, and you can let a Shady go and bring in a Murray. Does Murray's talent mesh within your system? Not that he's not a talented player. Is it utilized within your system? Guys are going to know what you're going to do. I won a Super Bowl with the 49ers playing basically one coverage 50 times a game. You couldn't, but if your receivers can't get open, if Prime and I cover your receivers, it changes what you have to do.
But I thought Murray's north-south running was supposed to be a perfect scheme fit here. I thought they're running them laterally, they're running them east-west. But aren't there plays to take advantage of his north-south running in this system? Or was that just a mischaracterization of how he would fit into the Chip Kelly system?
Well, his north-south, and again, his north-south running, he was able to do certain things within a certain system. Bringing him to that system, is he still capable of doing that? Because your blocking scheme and the aspect of what you're asking him to see is different. And that's what I'm saying. Time is going to tell, because he's replaced a lot of players. Mm-hmm. So now are these players going to be able to do it? And the league is also going to catch up to your system, just like they did with the run and shoot.
I'm here with Eric Davis here on the program. What'd you make of Cam Chancellor's comments about coming back in, that he's going to forgive players that didn't see his position while he was holding out, that didn't agree with his position, saying that God forgives, so I can forgive too, as he walks back into that locker room at 0-2. What did you make of that, Eric?
Well, I mean, that's a big thing for him to do, just to walk in and just say, hey, guys, that's his way of saying, guys, let's let it go. Let's go play. Because you don't want the animosity in the locker room. I knew he was coming back. I said that from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he came back after 2 weeks. I mean, Silver wrote a great piece on NFL.com about how, you could read Earl Thomas was basically saying he's not here. We're going to be doing our best without him. I mean.
And that's not saying I don't support my guy. That's just stating the obvious. Look, man, I don't feel like answering these questions about it. I can make it a big deal and I can make it a distraction.
Right.
But I have to do my job.
Should the team pay him the $550,000 he
Should
missed
the
in
team
2
pay
game
him?
checks? Or since he decided to hold out, is that
Well,
on
it's
him?
not. I don't think, Law, he's not looking for the money that he missed. He's trying to make sure that the fines that got racked up can be forgiven. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, now he's trying to get the money back. I said
Well, I
from
think
the
the salary's gone.
I'm always with the players. I get it, but you have to understand the business aspect of it. And I said from day one, Seattle could not do anything. Why did Cam ask? Because you did Beast Mode's salary. I mean, you changed his and you guaranteed Beast Mode's with a year on. So now Cam is saying, why don't I try it with 2? Then you're going to have a guy try it with 3, and then with 4. So they couldn't do anything. But so they what they did, they have set a precedent that we will not talk about renegotiating a contract until you get down to 1 year. That's what they have established, and they had to do it. Too many stars on that team. But I knew Cam was coming back. Now it's up to them as an organization to decide whether or not they're going to give him his money back, and I think they will.
My favorite comment was, Michael Bennett saying, because, he would like a new contract too. And he said, I'm not holding, and people are like, well, you're handling this the right way. You're not holding down. He basically said, I've got a wife and 3 kids. My wife would not allow me to hold down.
There it is.
I loved it.
Go to work, man.
That made me laugh out loud when I read that. Let's take a break right here. Eric Davis here in studio. Also still to come, Albert Breer of NFL Network to walk us through all of the news that's going around in the National Football League. All 32 teams relevant right now, man. All 32 are in the mix.
That's a good thing.
That's what happens when you're in September of a new regular season of the NFL. Back with more in a moment. Apparently, at Eagles practice, a certain member of the team hurt his hamstring and had to vacate the field. That'd be DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray.
He leaves Wednesday's practice with a hamstring injury.
Well,
what a disastrous start to the season.
That would be...
Yes.
That would not be a good thing. That very disastrous start.
And how good is the Jets defense? If you are a team that has problems executing, blocking up front right now, that would be the last team you want to see right now? How good is this team, do you think, defensively?
Defensively, they are sound. They're very sound because they have playmakers at every level. They have disruptive playmaking players, because not just space eaters. I mean, they have guys on their front that one-on-one. I mean, when you look at their front one-on-one, Williams, Wilkerson, they can just make plays. I mean, you know that Copels and all these guys can make them if you get them in those situations. They have linebackers that play downhill and can cover fairly well. And then in a secondary, you have the main key. If you have one corner that you don't have to worry about, your secondary is already good because you can roll coverages to do whatever you want to do if you don't have to worry about that one guy. If you have more than one guy that you feel that you are comfortable with playing man-to-man coverage with time and time again, then you can do what Todd Bowles does. And that's send guys from everywhere.
Yeah.
From every situation. And that's why he had Andrew Luck so confused. I mean, there were plays where Luck is sitting there looking at it, and you have one of those big defensive linemen dropping back and in coverage where he's not expecting these guys to be there. And it's not a question of you picking it up. It's, do you know who's coming and who's not coming?
Yep.
And he'll send everyone because he trusts his back end. Good defense.
Can you stay for another segment at the top of the next hour?
Yeah, man.
Take some phone calls, too.
Sure.
Because people want to talk about the
Sure.
Cowboys. They're going nutty about it.
Everybody always wants to talk about the Cowboys.
I'll see if I can find a non-Cowboy question for you, too.
I know. I don't mind talking about the Cowboys.
Also want to ask about what's going on in that high school in San Antonio with the latest news.
Yeah.
That the assistant coach.
Like I said, let's let it play out and see what happened and why.
If you haven't heard the latest news, we'll give that to you at the top of the next hour. Eric Davis is here. Your phone calls 844-204-RICH. Albert Breer still to come on this Wednesday program. Hey, everybody. Hour number 3 of the Rich Eisen Show live from the DraftOps.com studio on the AT&T campus in lovely, beautiful El Segundo, California. My compadre from the NFL Network spending one more segment with us here, Eric Davis, here in studio. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Albert Breer will be joining us in moments to talk about all the news going on in the National Football League. That includes DeMarco Murray leaving early for a hamstring injury,
issue.
leaving practice today. Arian Foster, a lot of people thought maybe he could come back this week. Bill O'Brien said from the podium moments ago, as Houston has a big home game for Tampa, they're 0-2, the Texans, does not believe he'll be able to go this week with that injured, that surgically repaired groin that he tore.
So things are not looking better, and he should not rush that one because it will then hamper him the entire season. They better get him fully healthy because they're just not the same without him.
Looks like Victor Cruz and Deshaun Jackson, neither of them will go tomorrow night in the kickoff to week number 3 on Thursday Night Football between the 0-2 Giants hosting the 1-1 Washington Redskins. The Cleveland Browns reinstalled Josh McCown as the quarterback. Now that he's back, and you agree with that decision.
I get it. I do.
You agree with that, Eric Davis. We've got a big show tomorrow in advance of that Thursday night football game. On this program, Bill Parcells phones into the show on the day that the Giants host the Washington Redskins. You got a good Parcells story?
Just my rookie year, first time ever playing against the Giants, Monday night.
Yep.
He and George Seifert just going at it.
What do you mean?
From the sidelines, from across the field. I mean, there was a situation, the first time we got into a situation where it was like a 4th and short, and Parcells was on the other side of the field just yelling at George in his own nice way.
What was he yelling about?
Just telling him to go for it. You know, and just telling him, you know, how, you know, a braver guy would go for it. And, you know, and George yelling things back. And it was just interesting.
As a rookie, you're like, well, welcome to the National Football League.
Welcome.
My favorite Parcells story I was told by Paul Tagliabue, then the commissioner. We were just, I don't know why it came up, but he told me the story that Tagliabue went to a Jets practice one day. They're standing on the 50-yard line, and the Jets are doing some goal line stuff way down the field. And Parcells is screaming his head off at a couple of players down 50 yards away. And Tagliabue said he told Parcells, Coach, you know, we're the same age. How can you see that far down from here to know what's going on down there? And he goes, I can't see that far. He takes out from his pocket a list of 10 names. He says, I got 10 names on to get on today. Those are the first 2. Stay right there. I got 8 more to go.
And that I believe.
Is what he said. I can't see, but I'm going to get on those guys.
But that's every good coach. I think that's a great story, and I believe that happened because I know George used to do that to us. It just happened to be your day. It didn't matter what you did.
It was your day?
When it was your day, it was your day. Just deal with it.
I'm sure Belichick has got their days for Belichick and things like that.
Yes,
right?
yeah, growing moments.
So Parcells is on the show tomorrow. So is
great.
Matt Ryan, the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. He will be phoning into the program. Big game for the 2-0. They can go 3-0. Let's put it that, is it appropriate to say they should go 3-0 against the Cowboys and their backup quarterback and their backup wide receiver?
Yes, they should. The way that what that offense is capable of doing, yes, they should. And defensively, you look at the position that what you're going against. Mm-hmm. From a defensive standpoint, you look at the missing pieces on that offense with, you have a gimpy tight end, you have a backup quarterback, you're missing, you still have no one who has emerged as the running back, the go-to running back. The star wide receiver is not there. You're supposed to win that defensively. So this is a game they should win.
And then the next, in studio tomorrow, in other words, the next individual to sit in the chair in which you're currently sitting, Eric Davis, Snoop, will be here on tomorrow's program.
So why'd you have me come today?
Well, you want to come back tomorrow?
Yeah, I might come back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow.
I may come back tomorrow.
Well, you're wearing a Steelers sort of a yellow color right now.
You know what?
It's more mustard right now.
Yeah,
I don't.
You're a mustard guy right now, but yeah, Snoop's here tomorrow. Steelers have a game against St. Louis. Can we call that a sneaky good game? Chris Brockman, is that on your sneaky good game radar? Because it's not up on the marquee, but
that should be. I would put that one on there.
We'll reveal those on our Friday program. But the Steelers, man, oh man, that Big Ben to Antonio Brown connection is really off the charts right now.
It's lethal. I am on record way back in May,
Yes.
I said that I believe that the Steelers would be the #1 offense in the league this year, and I'm sticking to it because of that combination. Le'Veon Bell is coming back, and
This
I knew when they
week?
got, and I said then that signing D'Angelo Williams was a good thing. That he's a very capable running back who just was getting phased out in Carolina, and I knew that was going to be there, but. Man, AB can just you can't stop the guy. AB can find ways to get open versus anyone, and he's not this big Julio Jones guy, this Megatron guy, which I think people underestimate. It was always more difficult for me to cover a guy my size.
Why?
Because he moves like me. The bigger a receiver gets, the more of him it is to jam. The more of him it is to see in the transition points of a route. When a guy gets closer to a DB's size, he moves like the DBs. And for the most part, the DBs are quicker, faster. You have to be because everything is about reaction, and people don't realize that. But you're normally a faster, quicker player when it comes to that matchup between a corner and a wide receiver. No knock on these guys' athletic ability. You just have to react at a much quicker rate. But when a guy gets to be your size, that's why you see the Edelmans. That's why Wes Welker for all these years.
Odell?
They move like the DB. It's a more difficult task. And AB, he has all the start and stop, and then he's just fast. Richie, he may beat you in the 40.
I think he would. He'd beat me in the 10. I know that. That's for sure. What about Jimmy Graham? What's going on with him in Seattle? Because you'd think they could use him, right? And they hardly have gone to him at all. Has he lost out there? Carroll says he thinks he's frustrated. What do you think?
I'm sure he's frustrated. This is a guy that's accustomed to having plays scripted for him. I'm sure that was a part of it. Jimmy Graham, we know he's listed as a tight end, but they utilized his skill set as a wide receiver. He had Drew Brees throwing him the balls, and this offense is not designed for him to be the focal point of it, and they've yet to start to install those plays, and I'm sure that's his frustration. The Seattle's running their offense that they ran before he was there, and he has to find his space within it the way Miller and all those other guys did. So I'm sure that's frustrating for him. I'm sure they will eventually see that we have to use this guy because he's not going to be there, the guy that's going to line up and just block, defensive ends for you.
Can we take a phone call?
Yeah, sure.
Bobby in Fort Worth, Texas. You're on the Rich Eisen Show. Bobby?
How you doing, Rich?
What's going on, Bobby? What's on your mind?
About that situation down in San Antonio.
Yep, the high school.
Yeah, those two young men. Now they're 17 years old, correct?
I don't know their ages, but they're high school age football players who, according to the Outside the Lines report that has seen documents, their position coach told the principal of the school that he told the players to go attack the ref based on some of the calls that he made and some racial comments that he has been alleged to make. Bobby.
Okay, let's get down to the basic principles of the thing. First, I'm a criminal justice major. I'm not a lawyer, but I learned what I learned from my professors. And the state of Texas considers 17 years old an adult. Okay, so if they are 17 years old and they go to trial, they most likely will be convicted of assault and battery. They made the decision to do what the coach says. I know what the coach, it was on Dan Patrick this morning. Dan said something about, do you challenge a coach in high school? Yes, you do. If he's telling you to break the law and hurt somebody, it's wrong. These young men need to be held accountable. They broke the law. They could have killed that man or paralyzed him with the blows you saw. You've seen them. Now the coach conspired with him. It was not premeditated. It was premeditated. It was not a spur of the moment thing. It was thought out and planned by the two young men and the coach. The basic principle of it is they broke the law. That they should be held accountable. We are getting to the point in our society that if you were to tell your kids to go do something wrong and they did it, but because they were 14, 15, 16 years old, they couldn't be held accountable, would they hold you accountable? Even in Texas today, the legislation is thinking about lowering the age of adulthood as far as criminal offenses to 16. We have to start taking responsibility and stop taking away the responsibility from the individual.
Bobby,
These kids hurt somebody.
Bobby, I appreciate the call. What do you make of this, Eric? this whole situation?
From the start, I said, let's just see how it all plays out and get the rest of the information. And now that we have more information, if that's true that the coach told these players to do that, yes, there is accountability on the part of the coach and the players. They're doing what they were told. I was a 17-year-old high school player in the South, and I was not going to question my coach because that's just not what you do. Do I think that you understand right from wrong? Yeah. Do I think now the question is how much of that do they view as right or wrong? But are you accountable for your actions? Yes, that's it. That part of it they have to deal with.
But I mean, if a coach says go attack the ref, right? Now apparently the coach has told the principal and apologized and said he should have handled the ref himself. If reports are coming off the field that the ref, whose lawyer has vehemently denied that this ref said anything of the sort of which he's being accused.
Of course he is.
I'm just getting it all out there. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So that. You'd think the coach, upon hearing this, call the ref over or tell the head coach what's going on. And the head coach calls the ref over. How in the world do you tell kids to go, do you see that ref out there? Attack him. I mean, that's off the charts,
See,
Eric.
this is the part that's what I'm saying. You still have to look at this kid and these boys. Their reasoning skills aren't fully developed. So
I'm not sitting here and saying
no, but that's what I'm saying. Let's get it back to. So I'm saying getting the adults involved. It's just like the World Series softball team where the coach told the girls to throw the game. When you get adults involved, so now this adult is bothered by what has presumably been said on the field, and he's going to handle it and allow these kids to handle it. You're absolutely right. Why not go to that other adult and call him out?
Tell these kids, go attack him?
So that was his way of handling it. So now the kids, as the caller was just saying, now these kids have to be held accountable to some standpoint, aspect of what they've done. But ultimately, who is more at fault? The adult, I believe, is more at fault.
Shouldn't we, as parents in this world, tell our kids, you listen to that coach when you're on the field and you're on the sidelines. This coach is going to do it. But if this coach ever asks you to do anything outside of the scopes of the rules, you need to question that authority. Is that an appropriate way to download your child to avoid anything like this bat guano insane situation from unfolding in real time on your child?
Rich, I've always told my kids that you can respectfully question anything. Anyone in an authoritative position should be able to tell you why, explain to you why I am asking you, telling you, directing you to do this. So the question shouldn't be an issue. So that's the thing. So if I have so I've always told my kids, teachers, principals, coaches, you can respectfully question, why do you want me to do that? And they should be able to give you something other than because I said so. And so I agree. You should raise your kids in a manner to which they question whether or not something is right.
We as parents always got to be the first line of defense.
Yes.
Don't leave it up to somebody else.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in, Eric.
Thanks, man.
Please, and come back tomorrow if you want to come back for Snoop.
I may just do that.
You should do that.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.